Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Before I introduce our speaker, I'd like to just go over some housekeeping items before we get started. We would greatly appreciate it if everyone could stay on mute. The speaker has requested to hold all questions until the end of his presentation. His presentation will be about 30 minutes long, giving a great amount of time for discussion, questions, and chat. If you would like to come on camera for this, that portion, just let me know and we'll go ahead and, unmute you. So to get started, good morning. Welcome to our pretty much monthly webinar on IIH related topics. My name is Edith. I'm a physician assistant and a contributor to IIH Hub. Today, we chose a speaker because we had an overwhelming response from our IIH Awareness Month last month, in which people were very interested in lifestyle questions and how to get through these terrible, grueling symptoms of headaches and fatigue and brain fog. So today, we chose Mr. Dan MacQueen. We felt his story was perfect to share with us because it's a story of resilience and how he took his medical journey and used it as fuel to now be an advocate and a motivational speaker. He has now developed a talk that is about brain hacks, and we really thought it would apply greatly to our community of IIH patients. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn over the camera and the mic to Mr. Dan MacQueen. Welcome, and we're very excited to have you today.
Edith, thank you so much for having me. I'm just going to share my screen. Can you please let me know when you can see it?
Yes, I'll let you know. All right, perfect.
Running wild. Okay, thank you. Let me just get the chat up here if I can. 1 second. We've got some interactive questions, so I want to make sure that I'm... So first of all, thank you so much for having me on the call today. If you could all throw in the chat, where are you dialing in from today? I would love to know. Throw it in the chat. Let us know where you're coming in from today.
So we actually have some people from Canada, New York, Florida, and California so far.
South Africa, wow.
Huh.
Maine, okay, wonderful. Okay, so we got New York, perfect. Thank you, Pierre. So I'm calling in from rainy Vancouver, Canada today, which I call home. I moved home 2 years ago from London after 10 years in London. But that's neither here nor there. We'll dive into that in just a second. So you can see my screen, we're good to go? So I'm very excited to be speaking with you today about a subject matter that's close to my heart. Resilience, mindset, perspective, adapting to life's changing circumstances. So I'm going to dive into things quickly now just because I want to get to the crux of the talk as quickly as possible. So who are you? Who are you? Who are you? You can see that, right? Yeah, good. So I'm quite interested by IIH and reading all about the prognosis and symptoms that you have. It sounds horrible. Let me start out by saying that. We'll dive into how this relates to me a little bit later on, but brain fatigue, fog, dizziness, headaches, nausea, vision impairment, massive pressure in the brain, untrackable where this is coming from, but like just a debilitating, painful vibe that lasts for a long time. And I got a lot of empathy for you because I've experienced something very similar. We'll dive into that in just a second. But all these symptoms are very familiar to me, and I really know how much they can impact your day to day. In fact, I remember just being told just recently I was down in Palm Springs for my brother's stag last weekend, and just having someone mention, Dan, we meet at a bar and you had sat down to take a break and you were there for like 45 minutes and you said you'd be about 5 minutes, and I lost track of time because the pain was so bad in my head. So massive empathy for you. There's a lot of overlap, and I'll draw some parallels as we go closer into the presentation, okay? So, lesson learned. We're going to carry a through line through the talk today. This is Epictetus, Stoic philosopher. He's famous for saying, amongst other things, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. We're going to carry this through line through the talk today. Why am I speaking? The call. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Thanks, Simon Sinek. I feel called to share my story, my perspective, my lessons learned because I paid for them in such a dear price. I had so much help through my process, through my recovery. Maybe you don't have that help. I want to give you the roadmap, the compass that I've used to navigate back to my today. I did these brain scans. Off pace, but we'll tell the story quickly. I did these brain scans last year at this company called Health Tech Connect in Surrey, BC, Canada, who I did a keynote or a breakout session for actually as well. Put this cap on your head, they inject you with fluid, and they track your synapses firing. So they ask you questions like microphone, computer, clicker, laptop, screen, coffee, and see if your synapses fire. My results came back as average. I've had 2 traumatic brain injuries. Results came back as average. You know, I should be pretty happy with this, right? But I read this as shockingly average. I'm shockingly average. We'll go through quickly what I went through a little bit later on, but I was a bit miffed by this. You know, I'm not average. I'm much, much more than that. The more I realized about it, the more I thought about it, the more I realized that that's actually a good thing. That I'm no smarter or better than anyone that's on the call today. I'm average. My brain average is average. And that means that you can do this stuff as well. I'm just toes over the nose of my board running this wave down. I've decided what I want to do and I'm diving into this full hog. I'm chasing this down with everything. It's a mindset shift. It's a mindset and perspective that you're adapting to address the adversity and the hardship. Quick overview today. We're going to go through medical rap sheet, what happened to me, go through goals, and we'll finish off with strategies and hacks. These will be available for you to download at the end of the session today, so you don't need to take notes. So before this happened, I was a healthy and active 20-year-old guy living and working in London, England. Here's some photos of me when I lived in Sweden before I moved to London. Cruising through the docks in Malmo, Sweden on the left-hand side. Fishing up in Nacka, Sweden on the right-hand side. Started having these headaches, you know, these headaches that were debilitating, these headaches that were atrocious, these headaches that stopped the world for me. So on the tube one day, the tube's how you zigzag around London, lumbering towards Nine Hill Gate tube station on the District line. Those of you that know London know the District line is a lumber at the best of times. Headaches were so piercing, so deafening that my vision started to go starry. And I saw stars. And the slowly started to fade to black. It was a race to see who could get to the station first. Stepped on a Nine Hill Gate tube station, mind the gap, and the curtain fell. The lights went out. I was blind. I couldn't see. Now throw it in the chat. What would your first initial reaction and thought be if you were blinded on a tube station in London? The station's swirling around you, and I can't see a lick. What would you think? What would you feel? What would you do? Put in the chat, please. I'm not getting any of the chat coming through on my side. I'm not sure if I'm missing something here.
Don't worry, I think some people are still joining, so
Okay,
and sometimes we're a little shy. We get warmed up by the end.
that's fine. Thank you so much. Well, I'll tell you what happened to me. I was terrified. The station's swirling around me, and I decided to, you know, my best course of action was to stay still and not move, not draw attention to myself, and just think and think and think, hoping that some magical revelation would come to me. After the longest 3 minutes of my life, my vision came back, and I carried on that day. I went storming back into A&E the next day. A&E is accident emergency in the UK, like ER in the States. And I told them, look, something's definitely wrong here. I was blind on a tube station in London. I couldn't see what's going on. They ran some more tests. Again, they thought it was vertigo and they sent me home. But they told me on the way out, I could always get my eyes checked by an optometrist. An optometrist would say, yeah, the eyes are an extension of the brain. Sure, we'll check that out. So the next day, I found myself in Mr. Patel's chair. He was midway through a routine eye exam when he stops the exam. Excused himself from the room and he comes back a few minutes later with a sealed envelope, which he handed to me. He told me to go directly to Moorfields Hospital, which I did. Well, IIH. Tell a lie. I stopped at home first to grab a Jack Reacher book by Lee Child, phone charger and a bite to eat. Then I arrived at Moorfields Hospital, handed them that sealed envelope. They ran the same test there, then escalated me up to Charing Cross Hospital. We're getting somewhere, I'm thinking. This is a positive thing. This is good. Now, it turns out I had a dangerous buildup of pressure in my brain caused from a non-cancerous cyst in my pineal gland. This prevented the fluid from my brain to drain as it normally would, causing the pressure to build up in my head. Now, it turns out I required emergency brain surgery tomorrow. Now, it turns out the world will change altogether. After a frantic back and forth with folks in Canada, the last text message my mom received reads, "I'll see you soon, Mom. I think I'll have a new haircut next time I see you. Love, Dan." Mom's in the air flying to London on June 21st, 2014. I'm on the operating table. Something goes horribly wrong, and I have a massive bleed in the brain hemorrhage. And the cyst burst when they operated. Mom lands and finds them in critical condition. Was in a coma for 4 weeks. Was in and out of consciousness for months after this. Things were dicey, touch and go. And all of a sudden, I doesn't know how to walk, talk, and smile again. Through the trial session, this one I used to work at Hootsuite, and my friends there told me I need to make clear how low things got. So when you get low, low, low. To say things were in a bad way would be an understatement. It was a constant battle in intensive care and to keep me alive in those 3 weeks. Hooked up to 13 tubes and hosted to monitor various things, giving me medicine. Alarms constantly went off as blood pressure spiked and heart rate too high. Parents weren't sure I'd make it out of this one, and if so, what state I'd be in. Eventually, I stabilized. On my way to Moorfields Hospital, or Wilson Rehab Center. My leg had atrophied in the coma, so I had to wear a splint to stretch out my leg to get my leg movement back. I want to point something else in this, folks, but understated, so I'll point it out to you. Some of you might call this avant-garde. Others may be fashion forward. I call this my confused pirate look. Does that eye pitch look right to you? Didn't think so. I want to share a story about dropping the clicker just so you can know how painful the splint was for me. So the first night I wore the splint through the night, no issue, no stress. This will be easy, I thought. This will be easy. Boy, was I wrong. The second night, after 20 minutes, it was painful. After 30 minutes, it was dreadful. After 40 minutes, it was unbearable. I buzzed the nurse. We get the splint off my leg. I can't handle the pain. I tell them, I can't handle the pain. But on the way out, I tell them, tomorrow we're doing this for an hour. I'm a walker. I can handle the pain. Big talk, big talk. So third night, they wrapped my leg, tied off at the ankle. Give me the clicker, the nurse call button. Go patrol the Wilson ward. Now, the Wilson ward was an L shape, so short on this side, long on this side. Short on this side, long on this side. They leave me in that hospital room that smells like only a hospital room can smell. Sanitized, sterilized. It's clean, but you wonder what sort of atrocities have been committed under the guise that lemony zestness. After 10 minutes, the leg's painful. After 20 minutes, the leg's dreadful. After 30 minutes, the leg's unbearable. The pain is excruciating. I can't even describe it to you. I start passing the clicker back and forth, trying to distract myself from the pain. Now, I've got double vision from the brain injury, which I still suffer from today, which is why I'm on the eye patch. Which means this clicker going back and forth, I can't see much of this. As the pain ratchets up, my throat's getting more enthusiastic. Till eventually, inevitably, I drop the clicker and it lands on the hard linoleum floor 3.5 feet down the ground. Sugar, I say. I didn't say sugar. I look over the edge of the bed. I can see the clicker that lying on the floor looking back at me. If I get that clicker, I can stop this pain. I can end this monstrosity. Only problem was, if I fall from that height, might break my arm. In fact, I figured about a 50-50 chance you'd break my arm. A coin flip, not the best odds. I changed tack. I'm trying to untie the splint, but it's tied up at the ankle, not at the hip. I can't reach that far down. I'm not that flexible. Help! Help! I yell. The Wilson is an L shape, right? Short on this side, long on this side. short on this side, long on this side. They're far into the ward. They can't hear me out for help. I decided to flip the coin. Drop down and grab the clicker. Even if I break my leg, even if I break my arm, at least the splint's coming off my leg. That's the most important thing, number 1, 2, and 3. Lower myself off the edge of the bed, and I crash down in the heat. Blankets, wires, cables, it's all a go. The arm holds, and I hammer the clicker, expecting the nurses to come bursting into the room like the bat signal's been put up. They kind of stroll in 5 minutes later. What are you on the floor of? First of all, I say, that's a fantastic British accent up there. Where did you say you're from again? No, I didn't say that. So let's fist splint off my leg. People tell you all about this. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to the matters, right? It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to the matters. The reason why I'm telling you this story is I learned 3 lessons from this experience. The first lesson being, let's not pass the clicker back and forth. That's a bad idea. The second lesson was let's tie the splint up at the hip, not the ankle. That way I can untie this should this happen going forwards. And the third and probably most profound lesson I learned was let's always be solutions oriented from this moment forwards. When things go sideways in life, which sure as you're born, they will, let's focus on a solution-based system of thinking and adapting the situation. To help the splinters will start walking all over the Wilson. Here I'm in the Zimmer frame lurching forward. Then we moved up to walking and tooting Broadway. So can you please put in the chat if you've been to London, England? Jolly old, cup of tea, fish and chips, bad teeth. Have you been to London, England? Let's get a bit more bespoke. Have you been to Tooting Broadway? Has anyone been to Tooting Broadway? Let me set the scene for everyone here. Tooting Broadway is an area in South London, an area they call up and coming. Think loud sirens, drugs, gangs. It's dirty, it's hectic, and boys, it's busy. I'm walking with a cane, I'm walking with an eye patch. After 4 months in a wheelchair, I'm literally Bambi on ice. I turn the corner to walk on high street for the first time, immediately get slammed into by someone. I stagger back a few feet. Someone scurries past me on the right-hand side. I thought I was done with the rats. Someone had been stabbed on the sidewalk over here. I'm thinking, this is a pretty wild place to learn how to walk. After a few days of this, I was thinking, this is the worst place to learn how to walk in the world. Can't they see I'm trying to walk here? Can't they see I'm trying? Then one day my perspective shifted. Maybe this isn't the worst place to learn how to walk in the world. Maybe this is the best. If I can walk here, I can walk anywhere. And Tooting Broadway didn't change, right? It went from the worst to the best in my mind. My memory reflected that. What are you looking at in your life you're convinced is the worst? Convinced is the absolute worst. Hey, maybe it is. Maybe you can find a way to turn down the suck a little bit, shift that perspective a little bit. Iron Mike Tyson famously said, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Now your punch may not be a brain hemorrhage, right? Facts. Will be a job loss, a breakup, a diagnosis for you or a loved one. You will take that punch in the mouth. How you respond. I'm offering a compass, not a map, but a compass that always points towards true north. We look at things like mindset, perspective, and hacks. Hacks that allow you and your team to be better than yesterday and tomorrow. My name's Dan MacQueen, and the reason why I told you that story about walking Tooting Broadway is when you change the way you look at the world will get changes. And you don't need a brain hemorrhage to understand that. I read this quote by Dale Carnegie. Again, mindset shift here, right? Feeling sorry for yourself in your present condition, it's not only a waste of energy, but the worst habit you could possibly have. Mindset shift here, mindset shift here. Goals. So goals helped me a lot through this rebuilding process, and I want to share a few examples with you. The first goals I used were about getting in the wheelchair a bit faster than the day before. So 45 minutes for 1 week, then 40, then 35, week after that, then 30, then 25, then 20. It was arduous, difficult. The grinding in the wheelchair was my whole body aching. Every muscle seemed like it was firing and hadn't been used in months. It was grimy, dirty, but it was a goal to aim at and shoot for and improve on week after week. Better than yesterday is what I say in my mindset shift, and better than yesterday is what I used to get in the wheelchair. I want to share a story with learn or stairway to habit. So I've been in Wolfson Rehab Center for 3 months, when a chance for a home visit came up. I haven't been home about 5 months. And the only thing that stood between me and a way of having a home visit were the stairs to get back to my flat in Hammersmith. As my mom put it, there must be 100. Actually, there's 44 steps. 44 steps didn't sound like much, but keep in mind I was fresh out of a wheelchair. That seemed like a rather tall order. Began training the stairs in the hospital, building up to 44. 44 was all I needed a weekend away, a weekend out of the Drury Hospital. I set this goal for myself, rather set for me. Come hell or high water, I was making up these 44 steps back home. Over the course of a few weeks, I managed to build my way up to 44, back home. So picture the last leg of that 44. I made the best BLT sandwich of my life at the top of those 44 stairs. But it was 44 stairs, not 100. Goal setting is very key, but make sure you aim at the right target. Hacks. So again, we're going to go through the hacks together. And this is going to be a very important part to dive into this. Again, this will be emailed to you after the session today, so no need to take notes. First one I have here is make your bed. Make your bed for 2 reasons in the morning, okay? The first reason is the room will look tidy. It can be a bit messy, but the bed's made, the room will look tidy. The second reason is it's the first task you accomplish in the day. You pave the way for more success. Last thing you do in the day is get into bed. Hey, I accomplished that in the morning. Tim Ferriss says you win the morning, you win the day. Next, I have exercise. For me, this is swimming. I love swimming. But for you, this could be a walk, this could be yoga, this could be jogging, this could be any sort of physical activity. Mood follows action. Get in your body, get a sweat on. Take that on if you can. Once you're done working out, you're going to want to have a shower. I got 2 suggestions for you here. The first one is buy some eucalyptus oil. Amazon, wherever you buy your oils, I don't really know where you get yours from. I get mine from Amazon. Sprinkle a few dabs of this in the shower. You're now transported to the spa every day. The second one here is end the shower cold. Nothing heroic here, 1 to 3 minutes. I'm in Vancouver, Canada, so that's not that onerous. It's probably colder than it is in Florida, I'll be honest, but go into the suck intentionally. Earn that day in, day out. 1 to 3 minutes and watch results compound over time. Meditation. This has been the best habit I picked up since brain injury. The best habit I've picked up since brain injury. I meditate every day for 20 minutes. It's a big number. How do I start with 20 minutes, Dan? Great question. I would have thought nothing less from this crowd. But I started with 2 minutes in the morning. Next week I did 4. We kept that 6, then 8. You can stop and start wherever you want, but start with 2 minutes in the morning for 1 week and just see where you end up. But ratchet up by 2 minutes every week. And you're ratcheting your way up to a better life, a better than yesterday kind of vibe. There's a guide here you can download and teach you how to meditate. Icebreakers. So this is one I used in London. For those of you who've been to London, it's quite a busy city at times. It's not New York levels, but for Europe, it's quite busy. Piccadilly Circus, Oxford Circus, they're a bloody circus. Find an icebreaker. What's an icebreaker, you might ask? Someone who's walking in your direction and you can walk behind. You follow in their wake, their slipstream. Let them deal with the oncoming traffic and strife. Leverage this to minimize fatigue as best you can. It's a great hack. Something I used a ton in London, not so much in Vancouver because it's not that busy in Vancouver, but it's a very good way to minimize fatigue and stretch your battery over the course of the day. How to foster a resilient mindset. So foster is the key word here, right? You can flex this muscle, you can build resiliency by keeping promises to yourself. Alex Hormozi says, show me your stack of undeniable evidence that says you do what you say you're going to do. I don't negotiate with myself anymore. I go in the pool, I owe those lengths. So I'll go in the pool and I'll think, I owe 40, I owe 50, I owe 60, I owe 70 lengths, and I owe those lengths, save one exception. There's a backstroker in my lane. I will skip that number in an instant. I've got a special thing with backstrokers, but this could be walking. I used to live in the Haringey Ladder and Turnpike Lane. And I'd walk before work for 1 block 1 week, 2 blocks the week after that, 3 blocks the week after that. And I slowly ratcheted this up after days, weeks, months, and years of work. Cold shower. I cold shower every day now. Initially, this was a super difficult task to do, but now it's a muscle that I flex. I know I can do it because I've done it time and time again. But build that undeniable stack of evidence that says you do what you're saying to do. Keep promises to yourself. And this can be small. And you ratchet them up over time if you want to, or you keep it where they're at. But prove that you say you do, you do what you say you're gonna do. That's what I'm looking for. Fika. So as I mentioned earlier on, I lived in Sweden for a year, studying my master's. Great time in Sweden. Lots of learnings. But fika is probably my favorite one that I learned from there, and that's Swedish for coffee break. So when I went back to work after the brain injury, I suffered from fatigue quite tremendously, and I had fatigue at the desk at times. And that's not a good look for you because you kind of fall asleep at the desk, slunched over, you get knocked away by your colleague, and it's not a good look. So I really thought I have to get up and stretch my legs, change the environment. So I went for fikas, grabbed a friend or just one on my own, have an espresso macchiato or whatever drink you want, a little treat. The change of environment, the vibe check, the refresher in the day is perfect to get myself going and minimize fatigue. Challenge. So challenge is I'll give you an example of this. So early days from the brain hemorrhage, I showered with a bath mat, okay, to help me stabilize in the shower. And every day I would hang up the bath mat on the shower to dry. And I'd see this bath mat and it would drive me nuts because I just knew, damn, this bath mat says you're not good enough to shower. And it drove me up the wall crazy. One day I told my folks, I'm not using this bloody bath mat anymore. They were very worried about this because I might slip and fall, might hit my head. But the thought of doing this bat mat just drove me up the wall. So one day I didn't use the bat mat. And guess what? I was fine. So I retired the bat mat. Used to walk with a cane to help stabilize myself from the brain injury and the unstable walking. Went to Vancouver for a trip, forgot the cane in London, and guess what? I was fine. So I retired the cane. Used to wear a contact lens all the time instead of the eye patch, a little less intrusive, a little less aggressive. I went to safari in South Africa. I thought dust and dirt would get in my eyes, so I retired the contact lens, and I was fine. Challenge is about pushing your boundaries. Now, don't make this seem like this is like a blank check to try ridiculous things and fail. But only by stretching the boundaries of what you can do and what you can't do, you realize where your actual limitations rest. Only by challenging did I figure out where I could level up and be. And I think that challenge is a very important part of your life and something that no one can decide but yourself. Where do you think you can push your boundaries for? Because I knew, like, going back to the wheelchair effort, they were saying, oh, Dan, you're trying so hard here. It's like, well, I could make it look like I was trying hard, but deep down I knew I wasn't trying hard enough. And it would kind of eat at me to know that they were praising me for stuff that maybe I could have tried harder at. Only by challenging do you know that you can stretch the boundaries and push yourself past your limitations you experience. Here we go. Momentum. Momentum is one of the best hacks I've got, actually. I've got two types of momentum. The first one is swallow the hairy frog. Seems a bit ridiculous. I'll dive into the story behind that just now. I used to swim Monday mornings for work, which meant I had to get up ungodly hour. I think 5 a.m. I would get up and I'd go swim some lengths. Not a lot, but enough to get into my body and get a sweat on and get energized and vitalized for the week. I was taking the lift down with my HR manager on Monday after work. She goes, like, Dan, what are these bags for? And I go, well, I swim before work this morning. She goes, oh, you swallowed the hairy frog. And I go, sorry, what's this? Oh, you swallowed the hairy frog. And I go, that's not a thing. So Harry the dog, drinking after a bender, and swallowing the frog are two expressions just combined to swallow the hairy frog. But if you had to swallow a frog, you would swallow it first thing in the morning. Take that out of the day so it's not looming over you the whole day. So swallow the hairy frog is swimming before work on Monday mornings. This is diving into the deep end. Before you know it, you're halfway done. Every Monday would be a success because I did that. And I knew that no matter what happened in the day, I've got that swim under my belt already. That's helpful. That's the first one. Second momentum is building blocks. This is super crucial and something I think could really help your group. This is stacking stuff on top of each other. So get home from work, or sit down and take a load off. I throw a load of laundry in. I get dinner on the boil. I keep the wheel spinning. To keep it tending something is a lot easier than starting from a dead stop. But if you keep it rolling, you can stack stuff on top of each other and get a tremendous amount of stuff done. It's a phenomenal hack. Momentum. Now, I'd like you all to take out your phones, please. Scan this QR code. I'd love to get some feedback on the talk today. I'll give you 3 minutes to complete this. If you do so, you'll get a copy of my slides emailed to you. Better than yesterday is something I don't just talk about, I want to be about it. Presentations like this help me understand what lands with the audience, what can be tightened up, what can be improved. If you email this, I'll email the deck after this, and I'll dive into my final story at the end of the session after this 3 minutes here. So I'll give you 3 minutes now. Please put in the chat when you're done, and I can dive into the final story. We'll just take a pause there. 3 minutes, please. Thank you.
Thank you. And while we're letting everyone provide feedback, we had some really great comments from some people I'd like to read to you. When
Please.
you were talking about, starting your day off right and having a routine, Angie wrote, I'm currently relearning to walk and many other things. I have discovered I am more resourceful than I thought. Following a routine and schedule helps me tons.
That's phenomenal. That's a great bit of feedback and something that's super crucial. My morning routine is crucial for me, and I start every day the same way to flex that muscle and just reduce the amount of thinking I need to do, right? Like, if you can limit the amount of thinking you have to do day in, day out, you can do a lot more and accomplish more in your vibe. It's a great bit of feedback. Thank you, Edith. Any other comments?
Yes, actually, when you were describing the headache that you had on in the tube, Lorado said, I know exactly the headache you were referring to. I experienced it right before I had a stroke due to preeclampsia.
I can't even describe to you the pain in my head, and it's something that your group deals with day in, day out. And I couldn't function. I couldn't do anything. I remember just being totally helpless to do anything and just wait for this wave of blindness to come on past me. And to be fair, I didn't know the blindness was going to go away. I thought this is going to be my new reality. 3 minutes was a long time to be blind. It was terrifying. Is there
Yeah.
one more comment in there, Edith?
Yeah, actually, a lot of people who don't know that they have IIH, they actually have a very similar story to yours where they're maybe routinely seeing the optometrist, or they, go in for a check because maybe they have some fuzzy, ness or some vision changes. And kind of like your story, they're told you need to go see a neurologist, but don't really say much else. And they go to the hospital or they go see this specialist, and then, this grand workup and this whole journey starts.
It
You
was
know,
just terrifying.
yeah.
So the ophthalmologist is the one who caught this, and he let this drop twice. So, a bit of a ball drop, but they did save my life a few times afterwards. So I can't hold too much of a candle to that, but get your eyes checked. It's a phenomenal way to get it done, excuse me, and that's a great way to kind of put that behind you and least rest at ease. But like, eye checks are great. The optometrist saved my life. I went back to see him afterwards. That photo we got there was after the brain hemorrhage. You can see the eye patch on my eye, and I just thanked him for like, hey, thanks for saving my life. It's very rare that you get to do that to someone. Well, I've done that a few times to be fair, but it's kind of nice to do that and just watch him lighten up and just embrace that, which is pretty cool. So we're gonna dive into the final story now. Thank you for adding the feedback. This is the next step. This one's close to my heart because it's the freshest story I've got. You can see now I'm wearing an eye patch on the call today. Wasn't always the case. I kind of moved away from the eye patch. But I had recent eye surgery in the left eye. I had one surgery on the right eye in Vancouver, one in London. The one in Vancouver really opened up the sutures, or not sutures, but the tie downs that they had in the eye, so I can move it around a lot more. And I was taking a shot to fix the double vision. If I can get rid of this, it'd be awesome. Did some tests, kind of got the measurements right, and we had the eye surgery. And it backfired tremendously. Trim had a lot to the left now to look through the right eye because I don't trust the left eye. on the eye patch today because I can't deal with the double vision. So double vision is not 1 and 1. It's like 1 and 1, and this one now flutters a little bit. So it's a wild vibe. My dad asked me, he goes, Dan, do you regret having the eye surgery? And I stammered off a quick yes. It's changed everything. It's changed everything. The more I realized, the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I don't regret taking the next step because I was trying to improve this lot. I was trying to fix my issue. I was taking a shot and it backfired. And sometimes it will. Hey, it will, but you can't lose the mindset of taking the next step. It's a lovely book by Charlie Munger called The Boy, the Fox, the Horse, and the Mole. The boy's walking through a thick wood and he can't see a way through. And he yells back at the horse. He goes, I can't see a way through. The horse says, can you see your next step? And the boy says, yeah. So the horse replies, well, then just take that. That's what I was doing with the eye surgery, taking the next step. I just got done with a neuro-ophthalmologist, which is a brain and eye doctor who went to school for a lot of years. And we're going to try and have another eye surgery to try and rectify this, or at least straighten the eyes to make it less onerous to look through. But I don't regret having the eye surgery because I was taking the next step. And I want to implore your group to always try to take the next step, the challenge, the improvement, the better than yesterday kind of vibe. Chase this down. Say the odds of being a human being are 400 trillion to 1. 400 trillion to 1. That means you're more likely to have win the lottery like a million times than you have a life in the first place. This blip was in my DNA. Nothing I could have done to mitigate this. This growth in my pineal gland was there from birth and just grew. I can't wish it didn't happen because I wouldn't be me. I'm me because this happened. So you get to do this. This happened for you, not to you. Chase it down, improve your lot. Thank you so much for your time. We'll dive into an AMA now, please.
Thank you very much from all of us. It's truly inspiring. Your words and your story and your resilience really is, if I had to pick one word for you. I hope that, the community feels the same that we do. I don't have IIH myself personally, but your story even hits home for me in many of facets of life. So I really truly appreciate your positivity and your take on all of this, because some people, get depressed, they don't come out of depression, they stay in the wheelchair, they don't push themselves, and that's okay too, but it's really incredible to hear that you kept taking that step forward, not knowing what the next step would be.
Well, thank you, Edith. I appreciate your kind words, and let me be very frank and say, like, you get to do this, and everyone's got their own struggles and tribulations, and it's difficult and it sucks. Like, I know. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. It's simple to decide I want to walk again. I want to do this, like, and just dive into that. It's simple to decide that, but not easy to do. It's not going to be easy, and the road's not going to get easier off the hop. It's going to take work, day in, day out, days, weeks, months, and years. They compound over time. But pay that bill for resiliency and watch the world conspire to make you successful. I want you to leave here inspired, to try something new, to challenge yourself within reason, of course, but challenge yourself, preconceived notions, avoid that woe's me vibe. You get to do this, okay? Are there any questions from the chat you'd like to address?
Yes, one really good question I have from Mr. Barak. He says, my one eye only works about 2%, so it's kind of like wearing a patch. In fact, he has also worn a patch at times. What tricks do you have for handling close depth perception? Like, for example, pouring a glass of wine for a friend.
Yeah, that's a good one. Trial and error. I've spilled water a lot of times. I can't always see the pavement. I'm marching hard. And I fail and I fall. I fall down sometimes, get a bait. Like I'm trying again and again and again until I cauterize this. There's no simple hack to address that issue specifically. And to be fair, my vision is not I have nearsightedness, which means I can't see far away. I can see close up okay. But by trying again and again and again, you'll figure out what works. And that's tough to do because when when you're a bit older in age, or, I'm in my 30s now, and like failing your 30s sucks, failing your 40s sucks, failing your 50s sucks, but like that's how you get better, by trying. I say try, that's the most important bit. Try, that's the most important bit. So I would encourage you to try and spill that water, spill that wine, and just get better day in, day out. But keep trying, keep pouring the glass of wine. I appreciate your perspective.
Thank you for that. And one person wanted to know today, what are your symptoms? What do you experience on a day-to-day basis?
Fatigue's a big one. I sleep is my number one, two, and three. With the brain injury, you get like fatigue quite easily. Same with IIH. So I really monitor my sleep, and I use a Whoop strap for that. So like a Whoop strap's like a wearable you can get, and I track how I rest and recover. And I build my day around that. So if I sleep poorly, I'll punt everything, like gym, working out, and exercise. I'll negate it because I know that sleep is the most important thing. Also been impulsive, direct. The filter's not there where it should be at times, but I'm learning and I'm trying this out. And if you own your mistakes, like look, I screwed up. I shouldn't have said that. Like own your stuff, but try. Only by trying can you improve it. Only by challenging it can you improve it. So symptoms are there, and they're going to be for life. Like they're not going to go away. I can mitigate them now as best I can with meditation, with fika breaks, with taking naps in the day. I take a nap every day for an hour, which is a bit bougie, but like if I don't do that, I'm not as good as I could be. And better than yesterday is what I'm chasing down day in, day out. It's a great question. Thank you, Edith.
Thank you. And we did add on our chat, if you would like to follow Dan on his Twitter X or Instagram, we've added these links and his website. We are so grateful for your time and being so transparent and giving these hacks to our community. And we appreciate you sharing your slide deck, which you will email to the people who provided feedback and through your, social media platforms. One last question from Brock is, I imagine a number of people on this chat, especially those early in their IH journey, and feel free to chime in, whoever's on now, if this is true or not, might want to wait on hacks until they find out where their prognosis is. What are your thoughts on doing hacks early? So, our community is a little different because some people never officially get diagnosed. We just presume they have it because sometimes imaging doesn't show it, or sometimes their lumbar puncture doesn't have a high pressure. But for you, what are your thoughts on doing hacks early?
Yes, try them early. Hacks are not like these hacks they given you of this like stuff that worked for me, but they can be different for you. But they're just ways to improve your life and to streamline success. Like I've got hacks for days now. It's like to streamline my life. These are hacks I've given you because I use these and they work for me. But they may not work for you. But like I've got tons of hacks that I share about improving like one of them got's like avoid the acute angle. So different kind of hack, but like when you're in a parking lot. This is an example here. This is not like verbatim use this hack, but like there's a parking spot closer to where you want to be, but it's quite tight. But there's a whole bunch of parking spots over here. Just park a bit further away. Avoid scratching your car or nicking someone else's car, and just park further away. Avoid areas where you can falter and fall. But trying this out and failing is the only way you improve this. So don't wait for a prognosis. Understand what works best for you. And like if you need a nap in the day, take a nap in the day. But only by trying this out can you improve your lot and see what works and doesn't work for you. So with regards to hacks, take these or leave them. I don't really, it's not for me to say, but try. That's the most important bit. Try every day to be better than yesterday and to streamline stuff and know where you faltered and fell down. So I would encourage you to try them out, whether they be these hacks or not. Thank you for the question, Edith and Brock.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. We look forward to following you and your journey through your social media. And for everyone else, we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar. We hope to have one more before the end of the year. And we will be posting that on our website once we have a date and time. So thank you all for joining, and best of luck to you, Dan.
All the best, Edith. Thanks for your time.
Thank you
All the
so
best,
much.
guys. Ciao.